Right, last one of the Patreon ones, and we've got Lamb Chops. Lamb Chops is on here. He says, "How you doing, John?"
No, hang on. I need to word this carefully.
Lamb Chops is on here. He says, "How you doing, John?"
No, hang on. I need to word this carefully. Can I do this? Let's see. Okay, I met John, and can I say this? He's quite a nice bloke, isn't he?
He's a lovely fella. Yeah, lovely
Absolutely.
fella.
I'll say this. I mean, I think much like I think this is a replica. I was thinking, strangely, of, deja vu. Quite fascinating. Mm-hmm. I was having a bit of deja vu just thinking of what I was going to say. What I was going to say was, this is similar. What I'm about to say is similar to when I'd made a connection with another guy and he didn't get back to me despite agreeing to. Mm-hmm. And do you remember, I'm referring to you, and do you remember we had that confusion? I met your mate. I'm on for a podcast, but I don't hear from you. So I give your mates my details, but because I don't hear from you, I just think, fucking hell, what's he all about? Fucking wanker, he's all talk, you know?
Fucking YouTubers.
Anyway, Anyway, I was on that but we made it up, didn't we? We made it work because the fact is, your email, the email which had actually sent to me, inviting me to do a podcast.
Gone to your junk.
Went into my Scottish bums, don't ever reply. John, I had quite a lengthy chat with at the GSX S1000 GX launch, and he told me to get in touch with him. So I did repeatedly via text and calls and messages. Nothing. So stick your fucking question up your chuff, pal, because I'm not answering it.
What, he didn't reply to your text?
He didn't reply to any of the several communicators. That I must have the wrong number. In fact, that can't be true because we were texting each other on this launch.
I don't know then.
Something's gone wrong. But
he always talks about you. He always talks about you.
Yeah, but
I think he loves you.
Well, he's not showing any signs of love to me. I wanted to do something with him, and I said, I'll give you a call. And at the airport, he said, definitely, we're on. Fuck all.
Same time next year. Yeah. Right, John, pull your finger out. Give Mossy a shout. Yeah. Right, John's question is...
I'm telling you now, I'm about to rate this question. If I rate it badly, you're not getting an answer. Or you're getting an answer you don't fucking like.
Says, ask him who is the best fast bikes editor. He'll know what I mean.
Oh.
Right, I'll sit back, let the story commence.
Well, I need to... in order to... I know exactly what he's referring to, and it was strange. I listened to... Do you know what? I learned something from that guy. Fucking, I'm saying all the wrong things, aren't I? To this fucking bloke that I don't actually
like. You
learned
something from blooming Lamb Chops?
I did. He did a pretty good launch test on that bike. And one of the reasons I liked it, and one of the reasons one of the lessons I want to learn from looking at his, and something that was underlined, I'm just trying to think how that launch went. Yeah. It was twofold, right? He did a lot of on-bike commentary, and it was really good because, you know yourself, you get inspired to say things, don't you? That you're catching the moment and all your emotions live.
Yeah.
The bike does something and you go, fuck yeah, man, that was a bit special. Or, oh, you bugger, that was a bit dodgy. Yeah. It gets you straight away. You don't. It's live. You know, you're not talking about it subsequently without that level of emotion and possibly without that level of colour, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. You're in the moment, aren't you? Experiencing it as you say it.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, one of the reasons I learned that was so good is because my onboard mic failed during the time that I was on that. I didn't realise that. And, you know, on the back of a GoPro camera, if you stick a remote mic in, it can just come out a tiny little way.
Yeah.
And it cuts the communication with that, but you go on to onboard.
It's fun when that happens.
But you go on then to the internal mic of the GoPro, don't you? So all year is and all the wind noise, etc. And I'm just trying to decide what to say and what not to here, which is always a problem for me, as you can probably tell. This is a good time. This is a good example of me being glad that I haven't had a beer. Right, let's put this diplomatically. The best editor of Fast Bikes magazine really was the first one. Not the best one to work for, but do you know who Colin Schiller is?
No.
Right. Colin Schiller is the founder of Fast Bikes, and
okay.
he's the guy that changed motorcycle journalism to a lot. He had a massive influence on it. He's the man who insisted that his testers did outrageous stunts, fucking 12 o'clock wheelies, ridiculous sort of lead angles. He had Jason and Sean Emmett working for him. Sean Emmett, I'm sure you must know.
Yeah.
And it had, photographically, it had a real wow factor. These moments in motorcycling that you can remember. I'm on Cheapside, London, EC2, which you probably know. And if you don't, you haven't been
I know Cheapside. Yeah. I never walked there, but I know it.
Yeah, but every copper who knows London knows Cheapside in the city. And what's that area of the city called? Where Cheapside is?
Cheapside.
It goes down the back.
Yeah, it's East End, isn't it? Is it not part of Tower Hamlets?
Oh no, it's not that far out. It's sort of it's down from the Barbican, or it's where
it's just before the city, isn't it?
Yeah. Listen, we get a bit boring.
Yeah.
There's a WH Smith, right? A Wandering. This is clearly something like 1990. Yeah, this is right. Yeah, about 93. Triumph have just started making bikes at Hinckley.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this was issue 2 of Fast Bikes. I hadn't seen the first one. There's a picture of Sean Emmett with this fucking Trident 900 on its absolute fucking number plate on the front cover. It's just like, fucking hell, man. And I start thumbing through it, and there's just loads more of the same thing. This is the most amazing magazine I've seen photographically. Everyone, I'm absolutely certain that he was the first guy who did it that wild. Other people were showing wheelies and stuff, but they weren't doing outrageous things like his guys were. And what's the question?
Who's the best Fast Bikes editor?
Oh, right. Now, for that reason, because he had a massive influence on bike journalism, and because everyone else was subsequently forced to follow suit, he was the pioneer of that sort of thing. Now, there's no longer really a case for that sort of shit, is there? Because the marketplace has changed a great deal.
Yeah.
But I'm let's put it this way, I'm sat next to the current editor of Fast Bikes magazine, and I'm extolling Colin's virtues, and me, it's Bruce Wilson. We have a difference of opinion on my opinion, and it starts getting a bit heated, to say the least. Now, I'll defend myself. What I said to Bruce is, look, mate, you don't compare to that guy, but don't worry about it. Nobody else does. It's about... It's a bit like trying to compare yourself to a proper racer. It doesn't mean to say you're slow. Doesn't mean to say that you're not very good at riding a motorbike. It just means to say that there's a certain level that you haven't got to.
There's a goat. And doesn't matter how good you are, you're not going to be the goat.
Exactly. Hear me out. This is for our internet. This is for our internet. It's not going to be for our international.
He's not even drinking.
Until I could actually pronounce the word international. All I want to say, John, is vous êtes un agent provocateur. C'est vrai.
He is. He's a wind-up agent provocateur.
You're a shit-stirring bugger, so you are. Listen, a lot of things that... Do you know what? I never regret anything I've said or done because it's pointless anyway. It's done, but it's all part of the rich tapestry of life. But It's best summed up by this. It looked like Bruce and I were going outside for a sort of more physical discussion of the matter.
A car park
But do you know
meeting.
do you know Billy from ABR?
Yeah, uh-huh.
He's a good bloke. He stepped in and he just said, "Boys, what you doing, you silly bastard? Who fucking cares anyway?" You know. He put. It's all too easy to think that we mean something, isn't it? Or motorcycling or motorcycle journalism means something. It's not worth fighting for, is it?
No.
And he said, look, have another drink for Christ's sake. Nobody cares, you know. In his sort of laconic Australian style, he just turned the volume down. You know, he rolled back the throttle and got us back on track. And you know what? I made a point of engaging with Bruce the next day. All I'll say about me and Bruce Wilson is we are very, very different people. We look at things very different. So there's always a chance of a bit of conflict.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, when you get off, have you ever done a launch?
No. I don't get invited to them. Well, yeah, I'm like the afterthought, so I just don't bother doing it. That sounds really bitchy. I don't mean it like that. But you know what I mean? Like, there's the tiers, isn't there? There's the first lot, the second lot, the third lot.
And then there's you.
And then if the third lot, when it gets to them, if they pull out at last minute, they phone round people. So
this is a national appeal to all viewers and all motorcycle manufacturers that Mr. Bruce Smart would like to come on a bloody launch. So please invite him.
I wouldn't. It's not my cup of tea, Mossy. It really isn't. Like,
go on one. Do you know what? Go on one and report the launch.
No, it's just not my thing. It's just not me. Anyway, you know, I'd rather do my own thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, the fascinating thing is that this one wasn't actually a good one for the aforementioned stuff, you know. They messed it up quite a bit, you know. Wrong tyres, wrong routes. It's like, what are you trying to do with you lads? Jeff Turner, in fact, Jeff Turner, he once said, that's a man that deserves and gets, thankfully, tons of respect. He quite pertinently said once, you get one chance to launch a bike, do your best job of presenting that thing to give it the best chance of positive publicity. You know? If you make a shit bike, that's one thing. Jeff doesn't make them. But if you hash up the launch, even a good bike will not get the chance, that one once ever chance of having that initial impact. I think lots of people, it'd be interesting to learn just how much launches have an influence over buying now. But once upon a time, I think they really did.
I think they still do, because like your main. Well, I kind of think like magazine. I don't know anyone that really buys a magazine to get a review of a bike. Well, they might buy the odd magazine, but I would say the vast majority of people I know, they use YouTube and they watch the YouTube videos for a bike launch or a bike review.
But will they look at footage from a launch?
Yeah,
4014. Lots of people look at 4014. Lots of people are interested in what Alistair and Chris say and Mike say about the bikes, you know. For the first time. Don't forget, it's brand new then. They just want a bit of, I see, right, that is hitting the spot that we expected to, or, Christ, not that good, eh? You know,
as a YouTuber, as a YouTuber, a launch is the golden ticket. You want to be on a launch because the launch videos, you're getting the content first, and not only are you getting you're getting to ride these bikes before anybody else, but you also get access to the PR team's content. So they give you the drone shots, the ride bys, the sexy pictures. So that is, you definitely want to do that. But for me, it's just, that's not what I want. I don't want to be a bike review channel. That's not what I'm about. I'd rather not bother. But people like John, 100%, John smashes it out the park, I think.
Yeah. I just get a bit worried about launches, generally, because it's funny. This sums it up. when the Japanese guys were saying, "What do you think of the bike? This GSXS 1000 GX?" But you would not believe how difficult it is for me to actually remember and then pronounce that properly. When I was on that launch and the Japanese guys asked me what I thought, and I talked about the tyres, I said, "Why did you put some decent ones on?" And they said, "No, that's what it comes with. We can't do that. That'd be cheating." I said, "What do you think flying us to Portugal, to ride in the sunshine in amazing scenery is? That's cheating. Give your bike the best chance." Do you know what? If I was a test rider for Suzuki or had any role to play in that launch, I would have said, "Get those tyres off."
Mm-hmm.
Just they didn't let you see what that bike was capable of, and the routes weren't good either. They're a bit slippery in places. That polished tarmac you get, where it doesn't rain much, and the cars they effectively just keep running over the tarmac and polishing it.
Yeah.
The feel from the tyres combined with the look of that stuff and the reputation it had just made it really it really dented confidence to go that much harder,
It's had it then, isn't it? Because it's not an enjoyable experience anymore. So it doesn't matter how good anything becomes after that. You've got that feeling's there now.
Yeah.
Apologies for interrupting, folks, but a quick shout out for this week's sponsors, who this week are Ultimate Add-ons. Bit of spiel to read out for them. Ultimate Add-ons are the premium manufacturer of mobile phone and action camera mounting solutions for motorcycles. With a kit for any bike and a proven track record of creating products that keep your devices safe, secure and easily accessible, the Ultimate Add-ons product range is ideal for any rider, from the commuter to the round-the-world adventurer. Why shell out on an expensive GPS system when you could use your smartphone, keeping it charged and within reach to take photos of your travels at the same time? Ultimate Add-ons waterproof, shockproof and dustproof tough cases are available for all flagship smartphone models and are designed by riders for riders. Find out why Ride Magazine gives Ultimate Add-ons their coveted Best Buy certification. Keep riding this winter with Ultimate Add-ons. It's all about the journey. Now, if you head to Ultimate Add-ons, links down below, it's just Ultimate with ADDONS, all one word, ultimateaddons.com. Use the code TeapotOne, that's Teapot with ONE at the end, TeapotOne, then you'll get 10% off their entire product range. That also works for Dango Design UK as well. I've never had any vibration issues with the cases that I use. I've got one for my iPhone and I use the Hex sort of strap. It's in the pedal cycle section. It's just like a ratchet strap which allows you to pretty much attach it to absolutely anything, and then your case attaches to that. So a massive thank you to Ultimate Add-ons for their continued support.
I think I'm going to learn more about that bike in 20 miles on the roads of the Cotswolds roads that I know than I did. Another thing that they cocked up with, I'm being a bit bitchy here, aren't I?
But it's true though, isn't it? It's this is the realities of bike ownership and riding a bike, isn't it? It's why I don't do launches, because I want to ride a bike the way I ride a bike, where I ride a bike. I don't it would be awesome, don't get me wrong, it'd be awesome to be flown somewhere beautiful and taken to great roads and looked after in nice hotels. Great experience, but I'm not riding the roads that I know. I'm not riding in southeast bloody UK on shitey roads with traffic, am I?
I think if you just present it, and here's the thing. When I rode that Rossi bike, my intro to the camera was, "Hello, Chris Moss, ordinary man," which I very much am, about to ride an extraordinary motorbike. Never did I at any point try to tell people about how this bike worked or what it was good or bad at. Not qualified to do that. I just concentrated instead on the emotion, just how it felt. What my internal chemistry set was doing when I was on this thing. I wasn't qualified to analyse the dynamic properties. Christ, I did 3 laps on it. But you get some people who fucking go to great lengths to tell you, what's right and what's wrong about it. It's like, mate, only MotoGP riders know what they're talking about, or
And
good
Nevesy.
test riders. Right. Here's the thing. We'll mention Neves because I like mentioning him because he's a bloody good bloke. And as we've said, proper hard worker, dedicated bloke, can ride a bike. Name a bad quality about Michael Neves. I'm sure
he
he's
won't come on my podcast. That's it. That's the only thing.
Right. Why not?
He just said it's not his cup of tea. So he was sorry. Yeah, he just said it's not his cup of tea, which I get. Like you need people like yourself. You need people that will engage and have a conversation because it comes across on camera then. And if you don't want to do it, there's no point in it, is there? I'd love to chat to him, but yeah. Anyway, never mind.
No, he was saying that on the Honda Hornet launch, he was chaperoned quite a bit by the Honda riding team. You can understand why. You've got 10 blokes. Well, you've got loads of them, really, if you count all the journalists, but you've got a load of blokes who are about to jump on a bike that doesn't belong to them, that doesn't matter if they fucking break it.
What could go wrong?
They want to go. Who've all got egos, and we all have, and there's a bit of a danger. Chad is I'm going to give him the credit for this. He describes it as the dangerous riding competition. And that's effectively what we do. The funny thing is, right, I fly there and shit myself from takeoff to carousel, basically. Fucking hate it.
You do?
If you see me on a flight that's mildly turbulent, I'm the bloke grasping the seat in front of me with white knuckles and nothing to say because I'm too terrified and dying.
Oh, so it's the flying you don't like, right?
I hate it. And then I get off at the other end and try and die. And yet don't worry about that. It's a... Do you know what? Danger and fear, fear is a fascinating emotion. Both why fear gets triggered to the level it does, why some people... Do you know what? I was talking to someone the other day, they just said, never, ever, ever ask me to get on a bike. And I said, why on earth not? Because they're death traps. Why would I want to do that? And I sort of felt a bit. I felt that. Yeah, I was piteous, really, because is that the correct use of the word? I pitied them.
Yeah, I think so.
Because they don't.
Sounds good.
They don't know what they're missing.
Yeah. They've never experienced that feel, but then maybe they get that feeling from, I don't know, someone else. Reading a good book, or I don't know. Like everyone gets shits and giggles in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. I regretted, actually, there's a book called Stephen Nolan on 5 Live. He's a credible broadcaster. I like listening to him. He's a worldly guy, talks a lot of sense. But he did a bit of a tabloid-style show. When... Did 5 lads get killed at the TT, or 4? It was a bad one about 2 TTs ago.
I think it was 5, yeah. Is that the one with all the sidecars?
You're still there. Yeah. Do you know what? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
I thought you were a Madame Tussauds style.
I was probably thinking.
At all.
I was probably thinking.
I thought the camera had frozen and we'd had a technical hitch anymore. Again, right. I think there's 5 fatalities at TT. Really, really bad. Stephen Nolan hosts the show. Why don't they ban this event? Blah, blah, blah. This is wrong. Anyhow, Ryan Farquhar?
Mm-hmm.
He's a guest. He has his 2 penneth. Matt Oxley has his 2 penneth. Both make perfect sense. And I really should have phoned up, particularly as a man who's been there and hurt himself. And all I wanted to say is, Stephen, you don't get your kicks from this sort of thing. This is not something that lights your fire. You are not a risk taker. What you are talking about, you essentially do not understand. You are ignorant of. I would have started it by saying, look, I'm a fan. I'm not going to shoot you down. I'm simply going to say that you really don't connect with what you need to be an authority on this. You know, you don't have the authority or the experience to put what you're saying in any sort of context. And you're dropping beneath your normal standards a bit by being a bit of a Sun editor or a Sun journalist by going, well, yeah, done it, you know.
It's a tabloid reaction, isn't it?
Exactly that. But I don't know why I mentioned that, but I did, so that's going down. But yeah, not everybody gets motorcycling, do they?
No. I think my argument for the TT and road racing and everything like this is that I don't think nobody should be allowed to tell somebody they cannot do something if the consequences of their particular actions, if that's not going to affect an innocent party, like someone who doesn't know the risks, because every rider, every team member, every spectator, everyone that lives in the Isle of Man and they live near that circuit, they all know the dangers, they all know the inconvenience that can be caused to the island when the TT is there, but it's part and parcel of it, isn't it? And nobody should ever be in a position to tell somebody you cannot do that.
The world is becoming more and more risk averse, though, isn't it? It's I mean, you can't make a noise, you can't take a risk.
Yeah.
You know, the suits are in charge, aren't they? And they're trying to pretty it up and stop us doing things that might hurt ourselves. It's like, whose life is it anyway?
Exactly. I feel like government is just, they're stepping outside what I think should be the limits of their control
authority
of us. Yeah, their authority for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's part of the reason why I like places like Texas so much, you know, in the States, because they don't give a fuck. If they're going to do it, they're just going to do it, and you're not going to tell me. You're not going to tell me anything else. And I love that mentality. And I thought Australia would be like that, and Australia is the total opposite. Oh man, Australia just like they say a good game. Oh
yeah, are the coppers there super strict?
Yeah, really strict. It's like a police state over there. I was gobsmacked by it when I was there. Right. Put me off because I always thought the dream, like, move to Australia. But God, I wouldn't live there anymore. It's just when I was there, 2013-ish. God, it felt so tightly controlled by the government and by the old bill were just everywhere. Didn't let you do anything. They were in the days right enough where you couldn't go out as 3 bikes or more without written permission from the whatever state you were in. Yeah, because they were having all these issues with the bike gangs over there.
Oh yeah.
Like they were running gun battles in the streets between the different bike gangs.
I mean, right. Tell me how running more than 3 bikes riding together is going to stop a load of Hell's Angel outlaws. They're not going to go.
We're not allowed to go out. There's more than 3 of us. We better not do it. It's what I mean, like gun control and everything. It's fucking ridiculous because like the gun control thing, I think, is just daft because it's only law-abiding people that are going to abide by those regulations. Everyone else can just go and buy a shooter.
I've still got a bit of an issue. Do you know what? I went to a Fireblade launch in Arizona, and launches, they like to take you somewhere different, or sometimes it'd be a fucking kart track, sometimes you might go to some museum. Went to that Barber Motorsport Park.
Oh yeah,
museum.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? Yeah.
Amazing place. But they also took us to a gun shop where we could go downstairs and shoot Magnum 45s or wherever they were. Fucking hell. You ever shot a proper gun like that?
Oh,
as soon as it went off, I just went, fucking hell. I now realise why these blow things apart. You would stand 0 chance, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
If you're shot by one of those. I mean, the bloke in the shop must have thought I was a nutter. I go in and I start looking at what's on sale. I kid you, you could buy rocket launchers. You could tool up an army. You could take over a small nation if you bought the entire content. And I went up to the bloke behind the counter and I says, "Are you happy with this?" And he said, "You what?" He wasn't from Teesside, actually, so he said it with a slightly different accent. He just said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Can anybody buy this?" He said, "Well, anything you selling it?" He said, "Well, if you got a license, yeah."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Do you think that's okay?" And I mean, I think he was about to punch me and tell me to get out. He didn't quite understand where I was coming from, but why would you give the bloke in the street the power to blow away 20 or 30 people, as they occasionally do?
Because the bloke in the street could get in his car and run over a crowd of people if they wanted. The bloke in the street could go and buy a knife from Tesco's and stab a whole load of people up if they wanted.
Right. I think,
I don't
right,
see any different.
proper meaty subject, this. I think we'll probably need at least a day and a few pints. I'd be fascinated to debate that point with you, because I'm dead against it. I think it's nuts.
Yeah.
You know what? At some point soon in the morning, because it'll be after the evening and America's behind us in time, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
One morning we'll wake up to another mass shooting somewhere, and I just go, "What the?"
The school shootings, I think it's something stupid like one a day, or even more than one a day. They have. It's incredible.
Fucking mental, aren't they?
But the interesting thing about this, with these mass shootings that are happening, is there's never any mention about medication and things that the shooter is on, and apparently, again, I'm taking this from things like Joe Rogan podcast and various different like Navy SEALs podcasts that I listen to from the States. And they all have this similar argument in that what medication is the shooter taking? And it's something ridiculous, like way over something like 95% of these shooters are on psychedelic medication. And it's like, well,
yeah, but
is it the medication that's causing it?
Well, look, human beings are flawed at the best of times, just like I am, just like you are. We do irrational things. We don't always keep our feet on the ground and do as we should. If you then give them the tool to murder in number, even when they haven't had any bloody medication. You can't possibly describe that. If you're in charge of having some sort of people management, you can't describe that as a good thing to do.
But we're going back on the argument that we just had, in that here in the UK, we have the most stringent gun laws in the world here in the UK. Yeah. And here in the UK, if I want, I can go 2 miles down the road into the town of Maidstone and ask around, and I'll be able to get my hands on a gun with no license, with nothing. Nobody's taking my name and my details. You can just buy a gun and go and do what you need to do. Job done.
Yeah, but you don't go into a shop and just buy one off the counter, do you?
No, but if you go into the shop, they take your details, so they've got a record of you. Okay, it'll be after the map.
You've still got a means of slaughtering a load of people. Bong, 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 just like that.
But we've all got access to that means. Every single person here, if you wanted to, you can get a shooter. It's not hard to get a gun in the UK.
Yeah, but you can't compare or even begin to compare the availability of weaponry like that in the UK with just how readily available it is in the US.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, but you could also, because weapons are so readily available over in the States, I mean, it should be mass murder over there all the time. But if you look where the biggest gun crime over in the States is in the states where you're not allowed to conceal carry. They have the tightest gun conditions, and it's those states that allegedly have the biggest issue with gun crime. Listen, so there's got to be a correlation there.
Yeah. Look, I often get my mind changed on something, but it'd be interesting to see if you can change my mind on it. But as yet, I'm still a bit. That's not a good plan. I'm still a bit Piers Morgan on that one.
What it did make me do when I was in states like places like Texas, the southern states in particular, when I was in there, I was very conscious and aware that people could and more than likely would have firearms on them. So, it is in the back of your mind. You don't get the...
Well, it's a deterrent, isn't it?
Yeah, you're not going to stand there and start giving fuck yous to everybody. You're not, because there could be a real consequence for those actions over there. But again, those people they're not swinging the gun around. It's just there if they need it. So, yeah.
I'd be interested to learn more. I mean, the figures are frightening, as we've just alluded to. But I'd like to learn more about what sets people off shooting each other. We only get the big headlines, don't we? The school shootings, etc.
Yeah, true.
Do bike lads get shot by some bloke who doesn't like them when they wheelie past his car or whatever, or flip his mirror? I don't know.
Again, it's
human beings.
It's not a regular thing, is it? The reason it makes the news is because it's something out of the ordinary.
And of course there are a hell of a lot of people there.
Of course.
Is it 300 million now, or is it 250 million?
I think it's 350, over 350, I think, in the States.
Jesus,
I think so. Yeah. Probably even more now, because they've pretty much got an open border policy, haven't they now? So who knows? Who knows? Well, I don't know what we're at here in the UK. What are we at now?
72, I think.
Jesus, are we over 70? Jesus, wow.
Not sure if anybody can count them, but
this is. I've been aware of the whole immigration issue from 20 years in the old bell. I mean, it was out of control 20 years ago. God knows what it's like now. There was no record, there was no control of it 20 years ago.
Yeah. But it's funny, actually. I mean, I don't know if I told you this story, but we're trail riding in the Pyrenees once. And a lovely man, and I'm going to start ad-libbing a bit here because I've suddenly forgotten his name. Russell Benny, lovely man. He runs the Phase 1 endurance team.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good example of a very good human being. We're trail riding up the Pyrenees, and he's good for a bit. He'd be great on here, and you would have a really good, deep, and meaningful chat with him on all manner of different subjects. He still runs this race team, but he's in the classic endurance racing now because he's got older bikes. He can't fund a modern bike and all that needs to go with it, so he's dropped down to the classic class. But no, a really admirable guy. Anyway, I go trail riding with him in the Pyrenees, and we stopped just for a break and a bit of water. And I don't know where this came from, but I says, how long for the human race then, Russell?
Oh, I remember you saying, yes.
Yeah, and he said, 200 years, and he outlined things like immigration, the displacement of people, which is a very pertinent thing to discuss now, because where are 2 million Palestinians who used to live in Gaza? Where are they going to go when you've got some nutcase rocketing them and fucking shooting, moving in with tanks, etc.? We're creating lots of problems, and it's a very big subject, obviously, but there's a hell of a lot for us to consider, isn't there, in the next 5, 10, 20 years?
Yeah, but it's
climate change.
The things that are going on, they've always gone on for the course of human history, human civilization. These issues have been going on. The problem now is we've got instant access to it. And we've got multiple sources from all over the world. Yeah, so it seems even worse.
I appreciate straight away, Bruce, that perception of things is bound to be different. And like you say, it's very easy to get a distorted view of what's going on.
Aye.
But, there's a chance that we're going to start running a bit low on food, isn't there? Or we'll probably come up with some alternative.
Yeah.
Like Snickers bars. just make more of them. We'll be fine. Population is growing. we're getting a bit too big for the planet, sort of thing, aren't we? We're raping it, and I think we're well away from motorcycle talk here suddenly. So
You're not even drinking.
I know. Let's go. But do you know what? With that conflict in the Middle East and this post office scandal, I don't think I've ever been quite so keen on absorbing current news of current affairs. You know,
I don't watch it. I don't watch the news. I just don't watch it.
It's bad for you. It's bad for you.
It's full of shit. That's what it is. There's no truth there. It's just all biased bollocks from every side.
I'm not going through a very good stage with the BBC currently, you know. And they very much manipulate things, don't they?
Absolutely.
Very much.
Nah, don't watch it. Don't watch it. Full of shit.
Yeah.
It's like a posh Sun. That's what that is. It just there's no fact to it. It's opinion. You're getting opinion. Yeah. You're not getting fact. Yeah. Tell you one that I found from purely personal experience dealing with things in the City of London, you know, on a day-to-day basis in the old Bill. So you're there, you know what happened, right? You've seen it with your own eyes. You've talked to witnesses, victims, all this sort of stuff. The news channel for me that gives in my eyes, the most unbiased and like multiple-sided version of the events, the actual what actually happened is oh Jesus Christ,
Blue Peter.
No, it's a Middle Eastern
is it Al Jazeera?
Al Jazeera.
No, that isn't. No, hang on. Al Jazeera is a town in Spain.
Al Jazeera is a port, but I think it's also Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera. That's it. Right. Al Jazeera. Do you know what? I shit you not. I mean, I watch. You can watch Al Jazeera on your normal TV, and it's like, oh,
can I respond? Can I respond to that?
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping you were going to say that. Right. And I'm sure I'm like lots of people here, and this reflects badly on me. But a while ago, when I heard that was a news organisation, I just went, "That's just a Middle Eastern mob." Selling them. Anyway, I think Gabby, former girlfriend, she started watching it and saying a few decent things. And I started watching it, and you are bang on. You get an all sides view. Mm-hmm. You get a very balanced, in-depth. I think you get a much better chance to make your own mind up on something.
Absolutely.
You are much better informed. Yeah. Do you know what? I wish they'd call it something else. I know they shouldn't. I just think that they're doing themselves harm by having people like me think the way I did. I no longer. I'm so glad you said that, because in fact, I was appalled recently. They were doing some coverage of the problem with the Israelis in Gaza, and man, I mean, it's hard to watch some of this stuff. And we deliberately switched to the BBC to see how they would do it. It wasn't even featured.
No.
They talked about the young darts champion. Mm-hmm. They talked about some dogs being. What's the bully? What's the little dog?
The American pit bull. It's XL bully or something like that. Yeah,
that's it. You know, and somebody who fucking invented some new lipstick or something. I don't know. It was in it, but it never even got a mention.
Mm-hmm. I know, mate. It's disgusting. And I'm just
going, what?
I don't watch it. I don't watch and I don't listen to mainstream media anymore.
Hold the line, please. I'm just going to move from my seat and be straight back.
No worries. We are also sponsored by the Influencer Store. Now, Roger and Charlotte over at the Influencer Store, they've been doing my merch for TeapotOne.com for quite a few years now. I used to use the standard sort of print-on-demand type web-based ones. It was nice and easy to do that, but the quality of the products were 2 or 3 washes and they fell apart. They'd lose their shape, and I wasn't really happy for my brand to be associated with that sort of quality. So I was on the hunt for some better quality merch. I saw Richie Vida stuff and thought, that's really good. Nice quality, really nice print, like the designs. And he pointed me in the direction of Roger and Charlotte over at the influencer store. And they've been doing my merch ever since. I get the feedback from you guys when you spend your hard-earned money on the merch and you seem to be happy with it. If you're not, please do let me know and we can feed it back. But I've got some spiel to read out from them. The Influencer Store helps you build your brand, big or small, providing you with a solution and apparel. We help you to increase your fan base while supporting you with starting your own influencer clothing line with nothing more than just an idea or design. And there are no hidden costs. For more info, come check us out at influencerstore.co.uk or drop us an email at online@influencerstore.co.uk for more information. And lastly, a massive shout out to all of you over in the clan, over at patreon.com/TeapotOne. Could not do this without all your support, folks. We've got a fantastic community going on over there. Everyone's so supportive of each other. We do the ride outs, we do the meetups, and obviously you guys get first choice for the questions on the podcast. Thank you so much for all your support. I hope you're all still enjoying it. Let's get back to the podcast.
Bruce, have you got a dog?
Yes.
How good are dogs, man?
Man, I cannot imagine life without one now. I just, like, I follow. Do you follow, are you on Instagram much?
What, sort of as a viewer or as a contributor?
Yeah, as a viewer. There's an Irish chap who lives in Thailand. This guy's called, I think it's Niall Harbison. And he basically rescues street dogs in Thailand. He's a former alcoholic and an addict, and basically a street dog. I think saved his life.
It's ringing a bell.
Oh my God! I follow him, and on his feed every day he's giving you the updates about. He feeds all these different dogs around the place, and obviously dogs come and go, and some dogs don't survive, and. Fucking hell. Yeah. Like, I have this massive lump in my throat when one of his dogs passes. And then you're like, I just have to go and sit with my dog. You know, it's just like, I can't imagine not having them in my life.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I've got, when I first started going out with the girl called Gabby, whose house I am in right now, she had a couple of dogs, and I wasn't certain, you know, but I didn't need to be with them long before I started developing a good rapport with them. Anyway, they had 4 pups. We kept 2. So we had a house of 4 dogs, and we used to walk them every day, man. It was just great times. Anyway, slowly but surely, these dogs died off, and only my dog, Rossi, he's a Jack Russell Terrier, survived. But when his brother finally went and he was alone in the house, well, we were keeping him company and looking after him, of course, you could sense that loneliness and a bit of depression was coming in. So Gabby decided to get a couple of rescue dogs from Bulgaria, from a couple of Brits who do just what this chap is doing. They've opened a sort of sanctuary for stray dogs. And unfortunately, lots of people just dump bloody dogs at their door, knowing full well that that's where they can palm them off, you know. So she tries to rehouse them, or they rather trying to rehouse them.
Yeah, our dog Pippa, she's a rescue from Greece, and oh man, it's funny what you say, because I look and I think she gets a bit bored, you know, during the day, because like if I'm pretty much home most of the time, unless I'm out. Obviously, if I'm out on the bike, or 1 week a month, I'll be away on one of my tours during the year. So, like, if I'm home, I'm working. So in the morning, she'll get walked in the morning, take her on a big walk, and then during the day, I'm working. She's just sat downstairs doing what dogs do, or she's on the bed or whatever. And then she'll get a walk 3, 4, 5, depending on what time of year it is. She'll get a walk in the afternoon, evening, and that's her. And I do think to myself, she needs a companion. She needs another dog. But my missus won't get another dog, because Pip she's a handful. You know, she's really territorial, and she's very protective over us, which is just in her breed. So when we're out walking around this area, anyone else or any other dog is a threat, and she's like that. Whereas you go somewhere new, good as gold, no problem at all, no problem. But my wife is just like, she's just like, I could not cope physically with 2 dogs like that at one time. It's like she can just about cope with Pip. And
I
I
must admit,
understand that.
when Gabby said she was, when Gabby said she was getting these 2 rescue dogs, I sort of went, "Ooh, I don't know if this is going to work out." And sure enough, when they arrived, Rossi just went, "Who the fuck are you? This is my house."
Yeah.
What? And he used to get quite arsey with them, but slowly but surely he's seen that they're good company, and now it's a gang of 3. And the whole purpose of getting these 2 dogs to keep him company has proved successful. So it's a good story. Right, let's have another question.
Right, we're done with Patreon. Thank you very much to everybody over in the clan. Yeah. Patreon.com/TeapotOne. Thank you very much for doing that. We'll now move.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. We still haven't answered which the front of which bike you wish to pair.
Go on then. Let's tackle that then before we move on.
Do you know what? I mean, I think you can go into massive detail, can't you? And end up just giving yourself some technological nightmare. So I think, which bike do you think has got the best looking front end, the best face?
I think the best looking bikes out there. I think MV Augustas are stunning. I love MV Augustas. I think they're just gorgeous looking bikes.
But we still. I mean, I like the front of a sort of Panigale the same design, and there is a bit of a link here. Do you know that NR 750?
Mm-hmm. You mentioned this a lot, yeah.
I mean, do you know a chap called Carl Lee?
Mm-hmm.
He used to be a designer, but I don't know if he is still a designer at Bauer. He must be, because he still
freelance,
does.
I think now, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's been on the podcast.
Futuristic. I have, of course he has. Of course he has. I would love him to do a futuristic version of the NR 750. Just bring that in.
There's a challenge.
Yeah, just bring that into this century. Because, I mean, it's funny actually. I'm doing a piece on. Do you know what the RG 500 is? The race bike. It's a very iconic bike, and long story short, I'm doing a feature on it for Bertie at Classic Racer, I beg your pardon. And do you know what? To this day, that is still a very attractive motorbike. Carl Lee could bring it right up to date. I think it's strange. When the 916 was done and they brought the 999 out to replace it, it went 916, 996, 918, 918, 998 is what I was saying. That shape, that silhouette, that came to the end of its life, and they introduced the 999. I just went, what the fuck is that? That is an abortion. I saw the front cover of MC and it just went, wrong. Never, ever will that catch on. Now, I really rate its look. I think Terre Blanche, the designer, I think he was just looking a bit too far ahead, maybe.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think of the current Ducatis with all the wings and everything that's on them?
And the race bikes, the road bikes have them, of course, don't they?
Yeah, the road bikes. The road bikes. What do you think of the road bikes these days?
Well, it's funny actually. I don't look at sports bikes with the same lust that I once did.
I do the Panigale and I do the S1000RR. Those two I love. I love them.
Yeah, they do look good. But I think it's a bit like, I know this might sound like an odd comparison, but I'm sometimes asked who my heroes are in sort of the bike world, and I do every time talk about people like Ron Aslam, like Simon Pavey, like Lel Pavey. It's people that I've actually met and got to know a bit, They mean a bit more. They make more sense to me, And what back in the old days, GSXR, ZX7R, Blades, 916 particularly, they meant a lot to me because they were my favourite bikes to ride.
Yeah.
Less so because they are less the case now. I look at other stuff. I mean, I actually look at off-road bikes now. And I can tell what looks stylish and what doesn't. Whereas once upon a time, when people were saying that to me, I just thought, what are you talking about? They all look exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've got a bit of bodywork and they've got knobbly tyres, but, you know, essentially they are the same bloody motorbike. That's not true.
The off-road bike, it's the time of the off-road bike at the moment. That's the way it feels to me. It's become the cafe racer of now, isn't it? It's the type of bike to have. It's the one everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be seen going out and getting a bit dirty on it and doing some trail riding, green laning and stuff. It's having its moment, isn't it? Just now,
I think
everyone's trying to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, some of the key indications now. Triumph getting into motocross, Ducati getting into motocross.
Yeah.
That's clear clue sign of that.
Motocross used to be the cheap way of getting into bikes, didn't it? You're like just getting a little shitty scrambler and going off around the fields. Yeah. But you can't do that anymore, and the bikes cost a bloody fortune.
I mean, I often have chats. Not too deep, but we just talk about the future of motorcycling. Some people give it 10 years.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they basically say that, you know, there's not enough youngsters coming into it, you know? I mean,
do you not think that's changing?
I think a few people are coming into it in later life, for sure. But are they coming in sufficient quantity? You know, are we not an endangered species, us motorcycle riders? Are we just going to become extinct?
I'm definitely seeing a lot more people in their sort of early to mid 20s coming into biking now through social media.
That's good.
There definitely seems to be a lot more youngsters in that age bracket. Maybe not the 15, 16, 17-year-olds that there once was, but certainly people in their 20s coming in.
Okay, as long as there's a new supply. I mean, listen, I've been to the bike shed and I see a lot of hipsters there, more youthful age. I just hope people keep buying bikes and you know, incentivize manufacturers to keep making them. I mean, sales figures are down massively compared to how they used to be in the sort of 70s.
Yeah.
But, you know, society and the whole world's very different. I think they might form a new sort of niche and a new role for people. Yeah. I'll tell you what I've been encouraged by. You know, I don't mind riding in the winter, so I'm on my bike every day. You know, it's my form of transport. I don't have a car. Don't drive a car. And I'm surprised to see more and more people riding now even, you know, they're out there.
Yeah,
you know, I saw some guys out in the peaks, not many, but, you know, it's a sign that people are still willing to do it. And if it's just, you know, it was a bit mild before Christmas. Sort of got up to like 12 degrees, didn't it, on occasion?
Yeah.
Loads of people out. It was a clear sign that not everyone had chucked the bike in the garage and sprayed it with ACF 50 or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I don't think there's that as many people that do that anymore. Plus, kit's got better, you know, like as you covered.
Big style, yeah.
Heated kit, Gerbing, Case. The heated kit's a lot better. Yeah. The textiles are a lot better. Yeah. The bikes the tyres are a million times better. Tyres get like up to working temp in minutes now, even when it's fucking freezing outside. They're there.
Yeah, big style. I mean, like I say, that ride to and around the Peak District, I got back yesterday, enjoyed it. You know, if you did a checklist and said bloody freezing, slippery roads, et al., fog, you know, rain, on paper at least, it wouldn't have sounded so good. I had a whale of a time. I like the challenge of it, you know?
Yeah, same.
I think there's still fun to be had. You shouldn't just restrict it to dry, sunny days only, because, I mean, I think you learn a hell of a lot more about riding a bike when conditions are more challenging, you know.
Totally.
Got to work out how to get grip, you know.
And you don't need to be flying along, do you? You can just be riding the bike. And it reacts differently, doesn't it? You know, like as you apply the throttle and roll off the throttle and apply brakes and lean the bike and your body position, everything can have a different effect, can't it, on the traction that's on there and the feedback that you're getting back.
It's a bit more exacting, which I like. I mean, motorcycling itself is very exacting compared to driving a car, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you've got to get it right, man. You've got to think about it and just do things as they should be done. The winter and the lack of grip just emphasizes that all the more and makes you do stuff and understand stuff that you can put to good effect when the grip comes back.
Yeah, absolutely. Right,
let's
crack on with some questions.
Ride through winter over. Go on, more questions.
Right, we'll go to Facebook. So thank you very much to everyone that leaves the questions over on Facebook and Instagram. I know we don't always get to them, but we're going to make an effort on this one. First one, Simon Weir. At the NEC one year, I went to introduce Mossy to Julia Sanders of Globebusters. I said, I'll only tell her the good stories. And Mossy said despairingly, there are no good stories, which to be fair is probably true. But what is the great man's favourite anecdote about his life on bikes?
Great. I mean, listen, it's not the first time I've been asked that question. Well, there's loads. Do you know what I was thinking? I mean, and you've alluded to this possibly being entertaining in some way. Just chatting about all the things I can remember.
Yeah.
Because there's been some proper highs, and especially in the early days. Let me tell you a couple. Right, this is going to be weird. I'm on an SS50, right? It's the Honda moped. Everybody else has got FS1Es, but I clearly see the four-stroke revolution coming. and I get an SS50, a four-stroke moped. It's got pedals and everything. It does 50 miles an hour if you chuck it out of a plane. Most of the time, it's struggling to top 35. But it's my first bike, and I go for a ride on it illegally with my brother on the back, right? And I'm wearing this cagoule that I bought from some Army and Navy store. I've got a piss pot helmet.
Cagoule.
I look. Do you know what? This thing, I think the clutch started slipping. So on some of these back roads where there was a bit of a gradient, Pete had to get off and push me. That afternoon, it was my first trip on a bike. And these guys that I mentioned earlier in this podcast, these Z900 guys and every other big bike rider were doing what they used to do back then, flashing, waving. It was a real sort of, it was more of a fraternity back then. There was a greater sense of camaraderie. People used to acknowledge each other. And these guys are flashing me. Do you ever do that now? You know, just give it a burst on the headlight, just a quick one. That's what we used to do.
I always nod or wave.
Yeah, okay, that's what it's sort of changed to now. But when these guys were flashing and waving, I just thought, I'm accepted. I'm one of them. I've arrived.
Yeah.
And I will never, ever forget that ride. There was no performance. There was no speed. There was nothing to boast about, but that feeling of just well-being and just being accepted. I just felt like that was my first. They'd put their arms around me and said, "Welcome, you're now a biker." And and I just got involved with it massively. Another good memory, and this is something I quote often. Can you hear Rossi, by the way? I'm going to have to let Rossi. Well, I'm going to have to let him come up because he's barking.
No worries. We're going to have Rossi on the podcast, folks.
Oh, here he is. Come on, man. Come on. In you come. Come and be on the telly.
Hey, Rossi.
Hang on, Rossi. Let's make you comfortable.
He looks well impressed. Oh, he's lovely.
So, he knows how to complain, this guy. Just go on, be on the telly.
Is that enough?
He's 17 soon, you know.
No way.
Yeah, man. We've had him since new. Absolutely adore him.
Beautiful.
He's We've seen some bloody sights, me and you, haven't we, eh?
What breed is he?
He's a Jack Russell.
Is he? God, he looks massive.
Oh no, he's tiny, man. Well, he's a, he does weights or something. I think he nips out to the gym when I'm not looking or something.
He's on testosterone, TRT.
He is, and I'll tell you, man, because his eyesight and hearing are so poor now, he's not got the sensory perception that he used to have. But when I was walking him, it didn't matter how big the dog was that he spotted. Could be an absolute massive Rottweiler. He'd still go, "You fucking want some? Come on, then." To start, he'd instigate many a barking war, just because he thinks it's his town.
Yeah. That's what ours is like. Yeah, she's really territorial to her little patch. That's it.
Yeah. Can you see him at all there?
Yeah, he's just poking his head up over the top there.
Yeah. Who's that, Rossi? Who's this? Rossi Patch.
Rossi. I never thought I'd be saying this. Rossi.
He can hear you.
Come on, Rossi. Here. Actually, I've got some dog treats in my pocket for my dog.
Yeah, that'll help, won't it?
Yeah, I know.
Who's that, Rossi? Who's that?
Oh, he's looking now, isn't he? Look.
Sausages. Right. What was the last question? Oh, anecdotes.
That was a question,
right.
Simon Weir, anecdotes about your life on bikes.
All right. So that's obviously in the very earliest part of me biking life. But I did something. A mate from Manchester, Sean, been in bikes as easily as long as me, but has done a hell of a lot. He's ridden to Mongolia, done a lot of the States, tons of Europe, Iceland, always going somewhere and doing a bit. He introduced me, he's one of the influences that made me eventually try off-roading. And he was always sort of inviting me on stuff, but for whatever reason, I couldn't go along. But he said once, "Mossy, we're going down to the south of France. We're getting the bikes. Yeah, we're getting the bikes van down there, and we're going to do the French and Italian Alps. Do you want to come?" And I went, "Right, let's do this. Well, let's get the interest ball rolling at least, and make just have a think about it." Anyway, I decided that I was going to take a V-Strom 650 and a KTM 690. I put TKC 80 tyres on them, got a bit of luggage, summoned a mate to join me. I said, "Look, I've got you a free bike here, do you fancy coming in to do this?" Anyway, because it was another new chapter and an involvement in something I hadn't done before, it really turned out to be a bit special. I was a bit worried about riding that 690, which is just a single cylinder, unfaired, basic bike with a Bonard seat. I thought that would be very hard work riding down to meet them, to even begin the trip, never mind complete the rest of it. But put a bit of sheepskin on the seat, chose a different route, developed a different attitude, so just took it easy. Took enough time to get down there without being under pressure, and just rode some, I nearly said easier trails, mainly fire roads.
Yeah.
But we had some challenges here and there. I mean, there was some rocky stuff, which the V-Strom, being a bit fat and heavy and poorly suspended for stuff like that, struggled with a bit. And there was a point where we had to manhandle the bikes past some sort of mini avalanche. Some snow had come down, blocked the main route. So we had to pick this goat track that was running alongside the side of this valley a bit further down. It was all a bit precarious, but I really liked the sort of spirit of adventure. I liked the fact that I didn't quite know what to expect. It was all a developing thing. Good mates, good conversation, stopped on some great campsites. Did we get a hotel occasionally? I think we did once or twice. And just ended up it was like starting motorcycling all over again. I mean, look, I'm enjoying it as much as ever, but I don't think you can ever beat stuff that you're trying for the first time.
First time, yeah.
You know, there was an element of intimidation from time to time. There was an element of sort of downright fear.
It's the unknown, isn't it?
Exactly that. Exactly that. But hell of a trip. Hell of a trip. And do you know what? If I was given unlimited resources, and I'd need a pair of balls to be added to the list because I'm not quite brave enough. I would like to do a long bugger off somewhere on something like a Tenere 700.
Mm-hmm.
Do what Sean did, ride to Mongolia, you know, the real challenge. Go and I'd go to Morocco on it. I'd like to go to Morocco for a couple of months, maybe.
Morocco's easy, mate. Just do it. What's stopping you doing it? Just do it. You can work remotely.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's right. I need to talk. You need to talk to me in the same way that Sean talked to me, and eventually knock down this psychological barrier that I've clearly put up myself, and sort of effectively prove to me that it's worth doing. Listen, I've been to Morocco 3 times on 3 different bike gigs. Really enjoyed the place, but primarily because I think you'll agree to some extent, Bruce, it's the sort of most different culture that's closest to us, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a taste. It's a taste of the outside world, outside of Western world
exactly
that we know.
That.
Yeah,
exactly that.
Yeah.
So maybe I mean, look, the other thing is you don't live forever, and you're not as active as you can be forever, are you? You know, got a mate who he's getting into road motorcycling, really good off-road rider, and has done quite a lot on the off-road scene, and succeeded in competition quite a bit. But he just started road riding recently, and he's gone, wow, this is something. He's been to Portugal, he's ridden down to Albania, he's gone for it big style, and because what triggered it was, I'm 64, he's of a similar age, and when you get to this stage, a lot of people around you become unwell or bloody drop off the perch, don't they? And he's seen enough of this to go, hang on a minute, I might only have another 5 to 10 years of fully active life.
Yeah.
And he's thinking of selling his business and just getting on board with this new venture that he's discovered because he's absolutely loving it.
Live your life,
do you know what?
Live your life.
Here's one of the things that I love more than anything else in motorcycling: witnessing people enjoying it for the first time.
100%.
You know, man, to see kids getting it and just going, man, you know, to see them loving motorcycling, super encouraging thing. It's one thing I used to love. I used to teach at the Ron Aslan Race School, and to play a part in making these guys better and just giving them, you know, a real day to remember was a very rewarding thing to witness. I mean, I just wish more people could realise and sample and appreciate just what motorcycling's got to offer. Do you know what? I was thinking of a scary question the other day. I got into motorcycling by sheer chance. Absolutely right time, right moment. Had it been slightly different, probably wouldn't have got on a bike. And I just wondered, what the hell would it be like if I didn't ride motorbikes?
Same.
I'd be an empty vessel.
Yeah. I mean, it 100% changed my life. You know, the bike is just, the bike sent me down a path that wasn't even on my horizon at the time.
Yeah.
You know, and even passing my bike test, what has happened in my life since then because of bikes, that was not even, you know, that wasn't even something I was thinking about then. I was just going to get my bike. I was just going to get a bike and, this will be cool. You know, in and out of work, nice and easy, no problems. And it's just taken me on this incredible path that still delivers every time I chuck my leg over a bike. It's just like, fuck me, it's great. This is life is good.
And what a great thing to hear. You know, much like me, you're clearly still enjoying it.
I love it. Yeah, I couldn't imagine not having bikes in my life.
I wondered I used to wonder, when is this novelty going to wear off? But I mean, I've been lucky. I mean, the job has helped enormously.
Yeah.
But
do you not think
you see?
Do you not think you make your own opportunities and you make your own luck? Yeah, you can be fortuitous for sure, but it's down to you to make something of those opportunities when they present themselves and identify them.
Yeah, no, I'm with you all the way. But becoming a bike journalist was by sheer chance as well. And I'm just thinking of the fact that what it's allowed, the access that I've got an all areas pass to a lot of great things in motorcycling, riding new bikes, meeting some amazing people in the industry, doing shit like this. It's nice to, we're not down the pub here, and I'm hoping this brings a bit of pleasure to viewers, But where was I going with this? Just the look. I simply wouldn't have done a whole. I'll tell you what, best thing about bike journalism, it's introduced me to stuff that I never thought I'd like. I used to think if it didn't have a full fairing and loads of power and go like fuck, it was not a motorbike. It was not to be considered.
Yeah.
And you're a bike journalist, and suddenly I get on an Africa Twin for the first time. The original one. 60 horsepower, softest engine out there. And I'm riding it going, oh, I say, hang on a minute. I can see why people like these things, You get on a GS and you realise why there's a big fuss about them. I mean, Christ, first one I got on was a 1050. Was it? No, 1150 was my first one.
Right.
That must have been 1100 GS. Back in, would have been about 96, I think. And yeah, straight away. In fact, you know what? A mate jumped on one, and he was a racer, really, but really talented guy, dead honest. And he came to the end of this stint that he had on this 11. Yeah, it wasn't 1100 square head like that one, wasn't it? And he went, bloody hell! Hey, that's a bit good, isn't it? He was genuinely surprised just what it could do. I mean, do you know what? The first time I looked at a GS, I went, what the fuck is that? What is that all about?
Yeah.
That's what I like about your 1300. I think it's the first really quite stylish one of all,
It's different, isn't it? It's just different. I hated the look of it when I saw the launch, when the spy shots all came out. I was like, oh God, what is this?
Oh, okay.
And then even in the launch, I was like, oh God, it's just. But I thought in my head, I was like, I'm gonna get one. I'm plainly gonna get one, and it'll be good content, and it's not going to be a shit bike. It's just not going to be a shit bike, is it? And to be honest, even if it was a shit bike, it will still make good content. So let's just. See what happens. When I saw it in the flesh, which was when I went to pick my bike up and they took the cover off, that's the first time I saw a bike in the flesh. And I love it. I genuinely love the look of it now, but I didn't in the pictures.
It looks a bit more sleek to me, a bit less tractor-esque,
Please ride one, Mossy. Ride one and
I will.
See what you think.
I've never ridden a GS that I thought was that wasn't an improvement on the one that it replaces. They have got better every time.
This thing is leaps and bounds ahead of the 1250.
Is this probably one of the big? Is this
huge
has
jump.
It got up a few rungs?
Yeah,
right, okay.
Like the 1250 was the 1200 with a bit more punch, wasn't
That's it.
This is different in every sense you can think of, but it still feels like a GS, but it's just. I think I said in one of my vids, it's like it's had my midlife crisis. It's gone to the gym. It's on steroids. It's on TRT. It's doing jiu-jitsu. It's got some tattoos, and it's like learned another language or two just to smarten itself up. Puts the suit on when it comes out. It's that kind of thing. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal performance off of that.
Good to hear.
And the difference in the modes are incredible. Like before, there wasn't really too much of a difference. If you go from like now, because you have full control. This is my sales pitch now on the new GS. Sorry, folks, but you have full control of the suspension now, including the dampening, because it's got like 2 rear shocks, and
That's it. Yeah, Chris, I saw Chris Northover's test on it.
Okay,
and he explained it well.
When you put it in dynamic mode, dynamic pro mode, and you stiffen the suspension right up, it's rock hard. I like it's like a proper. Okay, maybe not like a proper road bike, but it's a hell of a lot stiffer than it used to be. And if you put it into road mode, you really feel a difference. The throttle isn't as snatchy. It's just, most people would probably keep it in road mode, to be honest with you. And then you put it in dynamic when you want to have a bit of a hooligan. But it's just fucking amazing. I love it.
Do I need to get to a bit? Well, I need,
you need one, ASAP.
Motorcom look after BMW now, I think, don't they? Press bikes.
That'll probably be why I never hear from BMW anymore.
I'm sure we can sort that out. They're a very good company, Motorcom.
Yeah, they don't seem to like me.
Well, I shall be your envoy and sort that out.
I've got one now anyway. I bought one, so.
More questions, sir.
Right, cheers for that one, Simon. Next one, Peter Brewer. Hi guys, Mossy, do you think Marc Marquez should retire now or carry on risking his life for Honda? After all, he can't need the money. Well, he's moved now, isn't he? This is 27 weeks ago he left this question.
Okay, I mean, clearly things are different. I mean, I'll tell you, if there's ever a piece of footage, motorcycle racing footage, see if you can anticipate what I'm going to say here. You know, at the Valencia test, you know that when they get the chance to ride whatever they're going to ride this season for the first time, the first time he gets on a Ducati, right? He comes
in the elbow down, shoulder down. Was it that footage, the slow mo as he's going round?
No. But that is a very good answer. It's more relative to this question,
right? Still
about Marc Marquez, but more relative to this question and the period in his career that it's referring to. No, those Marquez near crashes, amazing, all of them. It's like, what? How do you do that? You know, I have gone to leap from my chair when I've been watching him racing live to scream at the telly because he's clearly crashed, to then see him sit. Just go, what?
Yeah, how?
I want to sue my physics teacher every time he does something. It shouldn't be possible. No, the bit of footage, you might not be aware of this, but he gets on the Ducati for the first time and he's got the world's press and their dogs outside the garage waiting to video him go out, take pictures. And when he comes back, now can you see Rossi now? He's got his...
he's having a good sniff, isn't he?
He's panting. There's young Rossi there. Rossi boy, look at that. Baby dog.
He's a happy soul.
Oh, he's good. He's good. No, he took his helmet off after he'd ridden it, and he's got a crew chief called Frankie. Is it Kardashian? I can't remember. Can't remember how to pronounce his surname. No, definitely not him. And he just takes his helmet off, and he's just got a smile that says 1,000 words. It basically says,
"Thank you,
fuck me. This is going to be a good season."
Yeah.
Okay, in answer, what was who was the question from? Sorry, I've forgotten his name.
Peter Brewer. Peter Brewer.
Sorry, Pete. Look, we're answering this at a different time now. I certainly didn't want him to do another year on a bike that clearly didn't work, and you're quite right about fears of him getting hurt. It's funny, he was Captain Scarlet for a long time, wasn't he? He used to crash his brains out and never really get hurt. This upper arm injury clearly changed all that. I mean, that's something that took a hell of a long time to sort. And given the fact that he wasn't winning, I mean, ballsy guy, let's put it this way, I want him to be world champion. I just want him to show us just how good a rider he still is and still take on Look, Bandaya and Pramak rider. Who's the Pramak rider? Finished second.
I have no idea about the racing.
You know, this is I just get these vocabulary black holes. Why the hell can't I remember the guy who's just finished second in the World Championship? Rossi, help me here.
People screaming at the screens now. My mate Fulch will be for sure.
Jorge Martin.
Okay. Yeah.
Forgive me. I want him to take it to those guys. I mean, Jorge Martin is an amazing rider. I love watching him. He is prepared to hang it out.
He used to ride for, was it Pramac he used to ride for? Does he still ride for them?
With, yeah, still this season, yeah.
With the big hair, didn't he?
No, that's Marco
Martin was a stocky guy, wasn't he? He was quite a stocky lump, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do you know what? I'm suddenly forgetting all the names. I'm making myself officially look like an arse on the screen.
You're a journo. This is your job. I'm just a YouTuber.
I don't do bike race. I don't follow it as avidly as I perhaps should.
Yeah, I've fallen out of it.
But I know I like the racing. There's a few people who don't care for the racing, but I still think there is an awful lot to be gained from watching a top-level rider on a top motorbike, even if he's circulating by himself. You know, all this front-end sliding and fucking lean angles are just shocking.
Crazy, man. Just nuts.
Did you ever see on the Suzuki stand at the NEC, I think it was Alex Rin's bike when he was riding for them, at the typical angle that they corner at? And it looked as if it was just flat on the floor. It's like somebody's pushed over the factory Suzuki GP bike here.
Yeah. How do they do it?
Nuts. Grip. They do it because they can. But yeah. No, amazing guys. Amazing guys.
Right. Okay, so we've answered that one.
Quick answer to the question is, yes, had he stayed at Honda, I would have been worried, but thankfully he's changed. He's probably coming towards the end. Do you know what? You never know with him. He is an enigma. And if he wins another title, he might just go, do you know what, that'll do. But he might go on to win another 2 or 3. You never know. He's that good. But I want to see the real Marc Marquez back. And unfortunately, that RCV has just been holding you up. It's stunted his success path, hasn't it? His path to success.
And you wonder, because it certainly feels like the rest of the field, all the new young blood, everyone is up their game, and it's now a grid full of Marc Marquez's, isn't it? But you think to yourself, had he been on a good bike for the last couple of years, would he still be that freak alien compared to the rest of the field?
A lot of very credible people in MotoGP think that he's going to bugger off and win the title on this Gresini bike, not even the factory bike.
Wow.
A lot of people think that.
Wow.
It's not just blokes down the pub.
Have you seen the calendar for this year, the MotoGP calendar for this year?
Is it 22 races?
Yes, all over the place. Yeah.
44 races, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. No
my
problem.
Dogs. Actually, Rossi quite often appeals to go somewhere and then doesn't, once you give him the opportunity to go there, know why he wants to go.
Oh, bugger. Yeah, it's a busy calendar. Busy calendar for this year.
I'll tell you, man. Do you know what? I did about 4 bike launches in quick succession. And I was thinking of those guys. As I got on plane 4, I just went, do you know what? I would like to do this all the time. It's one of the key reasons why MotoGP riders retire, isn't it? You just get sick of the flying.
Really?
Yeah, man, it's a big deal. I think if I paid for you to go and watch every GP, but you'd have to watch all sessions, you'd have to go through the same enduring sort of travel program that they do.
Yeah.
You don't need to work. Don't worry, I'm not going to be that cruel. I think
like,
you'd start.
The guy in red went by the guy in blue?
Marco Bezzecchi.
Sounds like a
It
biscuit.
is Bezzecchi, isn't it? Bezzecchi.
Bezzecchi, yeah.
Lots of people are making hand signals at me now, I'm sure. Need to just let Rossi back through the gate. Hang on a second.
Oh, he's a demanding fellow, this Rossi, isn't he?
Right, back from dog duty. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Where were we there just for a second?
Biscotti's
No,
a biscuit.
Bezzecchi.
Bezzecchi. Bezzecchi.
Yeah, I can't remember. There was something else we were talking about.
You're saying there's lots of people giving you the hand gesture.
Oh yes, yeah, just for not being able to remember Jorge Martin's name and not being able to pronounce Bezzecchi's name. I can't name them all, you know. Do you know what? I used to watch it from Friday to Sunday evening on cable, satellite, but at the end of Sunday, I just went, "Fuck, where's my weekend gone?"
Yeah.
You know? So I watch highlights and stuff now. I like to keep abreast of it, but not fanatically.
Yeah.
You know, I would love Jake Dixon. I would really like to lift that Moto2 title this year. Think he's there. He's coming. You know, won 2 races last year. I'd like to see him on the bigger stuff. You know,
I find I just watch. I'd never really watch the race. I would end up just watching like the checkered flag, you know, on BT Sport, whatever it was. I just used to watch the checkered flag just to. Cause I haven't got the time. I didn't have the time.
It's time consuming. It's massively
to sit and watch it all. Yeah. And I think probably because of that, like I used to watch MotoGP a lot. I spent a couple of seasons when I first started riding that I would watch MotoGP all the time. I knew all the riders, knew what everyone was up to, but I didn't really follow BSB or World Supers much. And then I started paying more attention to BSB, and I sort of drifted away from MotoGP for a long time.
I can see why.
And now I keep wanting to get back into the racing. I've got mates that love it, live and breathe it, but I don't know. It just doesn't grab me anymore like it used to. I don't know why. I watched that documentary, that MotoGP documentary, the recent one that was on, was it Netflix 2 or 3 years ago? I think it was Netflix.
Did Ewan McGregor narrate it?
No, that's Fastest and Doodah, isn't it?
It's faster, yeah. I think it is faster.
This was a recent one when the new breed all came in after Marquez. They were all just coming in. I can't remember what it was called. It's like Formula One Drive to Survive, but it was the MotoGP version. It was really good. I remember watching it and just thinking, who the fuck is all this lot? Wow.
Yeah.
Who's all these like 16-year-olds that can ride a bike?
Especially in Moto3. You know, it's nuts. You need drugs to watch that.
That's nuts, isn't it? But Moto2 was getting like that as well. It was just non-stop action. And now they've brought in the sprint racing. I love the sprint races. A lot of people hate them, but I love them.
Hell. I mean, a lot of crashing going on, isn't there?
That's probably why, because it's an eyeball feast.
Right, I'm going to make myself look stupid again here. Mind you, I'll only do that if I attempt to start this sentence. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to scrap that line of conversation. Right, next question, Bruce. What do you think?
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued now.
Right, and tell you all the facts, right? He rode for Grassini last year, or the year before last year. Rode brilliantly. I think he won at least 2 races, and he went to become Bagnaia's teammate in the factory Ducati team. But he got brought down at the first round in Portimao by Luca Marini, and had a shoulder injury that put him out for ages. Then when he came back, he had more problems and another crash put him out for a bit longer. And then he won comfortably at Sepang.
I need my mate Fulch. I need my mate Fulch here.
Again, I'm embarrassed. I'm a big fan. Fact number 2 rider in the factory Ducati team on the red Dukes. Have you got stuff to Google stuff?
I can Google it, yeah. Hang on. Right.
Embarrass me.
MotoGP
I've given you
Ducati.
all the facts that prove I've been paying attention. I wasn't at the christening.
Francesco Bagnaia and Ene Bastianini.
Bastianini.
And the
No wonder
testers, Michel Pirot.
No wonder I couldn't remember Bastianini's name. It's so common, isn't it? It's like
easy for you to
Jones.
say.
Yeah.
Right. Question wise, right, there we go. Where are we? Amy Forbes. Question for Mossy. Honestly, what's it like working with the guys at 44 Teeth?
Right. We need to put this in context straight away. I haven't worked with them. Well, okay. Let's put it this way. I haven't made a contribution, and that's probably just as debatable as the word work for quite some time. Look, they're sort of fully staffed now that Mike Booth's joined them. It's only when they're very desperate or they need something stupid doing. I did something for them that I really enjoyed a while ago, actually. We'll come to that. What's it like working with them? I only really know Alistair. And because of all of it, basically, Alistair picks his phone up and he says, "Do you want to do this for us?" I say yes. It's quite often a launch. I go and do it. I blab on to a camera whilst riding the bike. And then when a man points a camera at me at the beginning and the end, and I give the footage to them and they put it together. So it's a very remote experience. Now, the best bits are when I can actually sit with Alistair. I really like this post-ride chat that they have, where you've got... I think it's good, when you're a bike launch, that you're trying to feed your brain with all sorts of information about what this bike's got, what it hasn't got, what it's like to ride. And sometimes you just need a bit of a breather before you go to the camera, so it's all settled. This dust has settled in your mind. And when I meet Alistair, after I've ridden it, we have a bit of banter, because I think we work quite well together. Then I know a bit more about him, But listen, I spend a bit of time with him. He's a great guy, I'll give you that. Boothie, I don't know, but I salute massively. He had a very bad crash at the TT.
Massive balls, yeah.
Do you know what? When news came, I knew he'd been badly hurt. But when I read that he'd lost his lower leg, I was just about to ride off up north to see me dad. And just for a single minute, I dwelt on that news and went, "Fuck, why do I want to get on a motorbike when that sort of thing can happen?" I've got a mate who paralysed himself after a bike accident. And I used to go and see him in Salisbury Spinal Specialist sort of unit down in Salisbury, strangely. And I'd go on my bike, because that's my form of transport. I may have mentioned that more than once. And after I'd seen him and a ward full of paralysed people, I'd walk back to my bike going, "What the fuck do I want to fight that sort of injury?" But just after learning of Boothie's leg amputation, when I did actually get on the bike, that rush you get from it, that definite stimulation you get when you ride off, just came back to me, and I enjoyed the ride. And it's something, touch wood, that you've got to recognise. And we'll leave it at that, recognise. But yeah, in answer to the question, Amy, is it?
Amy Forbes.
Hi, Amy. The answer is I don't really know. Chris is an interesting character who I don't really know because I haven't spent that much time with him. But I like what he's done. I like what they do. I'm a fan of the show. I like the fact that they're prepared to just, show a bit of life. You get the human side, don't you? You get the humour, you get the stupidness, the stupidity.
It's almost like the old Fast Bikes mag on
exactly
YouTube,
that.
isn't it? It's that sort of mentality. It's the fun of biking.
Yeah. It's boys being boys on bikes, isn't it? Yeah. But no, a good crew, and I've enjoyed working for them whenever I have done. But yeah, the last thing I did for them, it turned out to be quite good, actually. I went on the Tenere 700 World Raid launch.
Mm-hmm.
And because of a completely ego-driven crash, I ended up busting my ankle. Anyway, I had to get it plated and pinned, and it took a while for me to get going again. Anyhow, Fagan phones up and he says, do you fancy do you know who Graham Jarvis is?
Yeah, God, yeah.
Right, Graham Jarvis is a world...
That's one person I do know.
Yeah, okay. Award yourself one of the possible 100 stars you could have had. He's a hard enduro world championship rider who, they can do extraordinary things with enduro bikes.
Freak.
And he says to me, do you want to go and ride with him? And I just said, have you dialed the right number here? I'm just coming back from an ankle injury, a proper one, involving a bit of metal work. And you want me to make my off-road comeback with him on a proper enduro bike, I said, let me have a think about that. In the meantime, I phoned up Simon Roots, who looks after the PR for Husqvarna, who Graham Jarvis is linked with. And I said, look, Fagan's invited me on this. What's the deal? Am I going to die? Am I going to finish off my life? And he said, look, I've been assured that it's for anyone, all comers. So I went along, and you know what? I don't know if you've seen proper off-road riders, but you can just tell they're really good before they even get on the bike. They've got a swagger. They've got the kit. They've got the chat.
It's the big cock energy, isn't it? They have the bollock energy.
I have never felt so insignificant and sort of underqualified and lacking in talent. Do you know what? There was a bit of a big German girl there, and I thought, well, at least I'm not going to be last. Wrong. I was fucking useless. Do you know what? I found myself at the start of this test, this experience, at the front of the group. Don't know how that happened. I looked behind me to see about 8 angry faces effectively saying, get out of the way, you fucking plonker. And do you know what? It made for a good story because I crashed a lot. I had lots of tantrums. Watch it.
I think I have seen it. I think I've seen that one.
Stuff I could normally do, no bother. I couldn't do because the accident and the injury had affected me, and I was super rusty. Slowly but surely, it started coming back to me, and I just got the reward again from being able to. I was nowhere near the rest. They were in a different league.
Yeah,
but they were really good, I was the little kid that they patted on the head occasionally and said, "Well done, you." And I don't know if you've been trail riding, but if you're the slowest, the fast guys stop and wait for you,
and they get a nice rest.
But as soon as you catch them up, they bugger off. You get no rest.
Yeah,
but it made pretty.
I
good
know
telly.
That experience well, Mossy.
Yeah. But it made pretty good telly because of the story that was told, and I did that with Alistair at the end more than anything else, yeah, it's good working for them, but I haven't done it for a long time. That was the last thing I did.
Well, I'm not going to say anything, but Fagan, come on, give him a shout. Give him a shout. Next one is Bob Collins. What's he saying? Did an all-nighter. I did an all-nighter with him once. He's got some great stories. To which Al Fagan replies, I heard about that one recently. Then Bob just says, I couldn't function too well the day after. That's all they're saying. Is this the one you were talking about earlier?
Yes, it is. Yeah, the very one. Functioning was a dream. I would have loved it if I could have functioned. No, that was all nighter. It was. When we're off record, I'll tell you the whole detail.
You're on. Okay, next one, Mike Price.
For reasons that would be patently obvious, I can't tell that story in its entirety. Sorry, one day. Read about it when I'm gone.
I'll tell you folks later. Mike Price, ask Mossy, is there any bike he'd choose over Rita Ora?
No. I'm sorry for the very short and ultra concise answer. All I'll say is, I'm going to shut the door for this.
I was just about to say.
All I'll say is I've ridden many fantastic motorbikes, but I've never ridden Rita Ora. And I don't care how sexist and crass that sounds. That's the best way I can put it.
Where is it commonly known then, this love of yours for Rita Ora?
You know what? I wouldn't say it's a love. She's not the best looking woman in the world either, but surely she just possesses something.
The heart loves what the heart wants, what the heart wants.
Buttons are pressed
Enough
by
said.
her. Yeah.
Right. Next one, Bertie Simmons. Ask him about the fish slice and the empty packet of cornflakes in his kitchen.
Oh, man. Right, I can tell this.
And his charity work.
The charity work, I'm not sure who he's referring to there. Right, okay. You must... Anybody having their lunch or eating anything of any description right now needs to put this on hold. He used to live in this little bungalow, it was, in a village in the Midlands. And I just had this routine. I'd get out of bed, don my bathrobe.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm having a quick scan down the questions, and there's all people like Simon Roots, Fagan, Carly. They're all going, fish slice, fish slice. Sorry, go on.
I'm about to tell this story. Anyway, so I've got my little... We've all got these routines, haven't we? So alarm goes, get out of bed, bathrobe on, walk into the kitchen. It's got lino floor, make myself some tea, turn the computer on, just start this warming up process, try and get up to some sort of temperature before I rev my engine any faster. Anyway, I went for a fart.
Oh, no.
And I've obviously got to a stage in life where my sensors, maybe I need some new sensors in my chuff, but I couldn't tell that it was actually something more solid than a bit of gas that I wanted to admit. So I went for
we've
the
all
fart,
been there.
And this chunk of shite flew out my arse and hit the floor.
You shouted.
There was this. Yeah, exactly. There was this. It was of perfect dimensions. Actually, quite solid. No, the integrity of this lump was such that it didn't splash, stain anything.
The nugget.
It hit the floor. A nugget. Good word. Good. I called it a chod at the time, a chod of shite, but nobody seemed to understand that terminology. But that hits the floor with a bit of a dull thump. And I think, oh, fucking hell. I just laughed,
Oh.
If it wasn't something that I would have liked to have done in public, obviously, but anyway, I needed to pick it up. So I just picked the fish slice up.
Oh, no.
And then I got an old cornflake box packet and just dumped it in there and stuck it in the bin. Now,
and then you told people about this.
Well, it needed to be mentioned. I mean, it does raise the grin and giggle from time to time. But yeah, that's the story of me soiling my own kitchen floor inadvertently.
This is the story of the dull thud, I take it.
The dull thud.
That's what Fagan was saying. Tell him the story of the dull thud. Oh,
if you watch, here's another. Right, go to your Google device.
Yes.
Tenere 700 versus KTM 790 versus KTM 790R, 44 teeth.
You're going to have to slow it down. Go again.
Okay.
KTM.
44 teeth.
Yeah.
Tenere 700 versus KTM 790 versus KTM 790R, 44 teeth.
Yeah.
In the intro to that test, I tell that story, but with slightly more passion. Okay. And even I'm struggling to stop laughing at the end of it. But
well, that'll be one for later. I'll not do that now.
The only problem with telling that story is that's probably the 1,000th telling, so I can't quite tell it as well as I once did.
I'm impressed by how many names from the bike industry all mention either dull thud, cornflakes, fish slice, or the jigsaw. Yeah. Yeah. Bertie Simmons says to Rootsy, trying to get the gas out first, past the solids.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, that's it. I think what happened was there was a bit of an airlock. And, you know, this chunk of shite obviously was something like it's like a shotgun cartridge, if you like, or a shell. And it just came down the canal and fired itself into the atmosphere, which in this case, because it was pointing straight to the ground, wasn't a very long trip. It didn't. It did hit its target, I guess, didn't it? But yeah, it could have been a different story. It could have been worse if I had some pants on.
Well, yeah. I mean, for me,
I probably wouldn't.
These things happen,
I mean,
but it's a combination of the fish slice and the cornflakes packet. That is like your input on the whole situation.
Yeah, but it had to be disposed of. Right, since owning a dog, I now know that you just get your little doggy poo bag, grab hold of it, tie it in a nice
and fling it in a tree.
You don't do that. You do not do that.
It winds me up.
That's what civilized waste disposal clearly wasn't something that I employed at that time. Another time, mind you. I mean, here's another shit story. Rossi is barking his head off, by the way. I might have to get him.
Yeah.
CX500, middle of Spain. It's about 40 degrees. And for some reason, I've got one-piece leathers on. I thought I was someone back then. Anyway.
It's what any sane person will wear.
Not a CX. Anyway, so I'm riding along and I'm thinking, you need to go, mate. You need a number 2, a bit sharpish,
no.
And then it became really quite important. And all I could see was this sign. It was a bit of old wood nailed to a tree with the word WC scrawled on it. I thought that'll do. Anyway, that was on a tree. Sorry, my dog's fucking. No, he's quieting down now. That was in a lay-by, and I stopped, and the sign was pointing to this little hut down at the foot of some stairs.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I went down these stairs, and the body, it's very clever, isn't it? It knows its alarm bells they need to be very much recognised. And these alarm bells were saying, you need a shite as soon as you get in here.
Yeah.
Into that hut. You've got to, it's like, don't miss.
You need to be doing a Superman as you're running to the toilet, don't you?
Absolutely. Anyhow, trouble is, I got to the hut round the back of it. There's no door. There's no bog. There is just a pile of shite where something like 50 people have been before me. 40-degree heat, I remind you. You couldn't bottle that up to sell it to anyone. It fucking stank, man. It was... I mean, cow shit smelled better. It was not good. Anyway, I just went, I can't bring myself to shit there. This is just beneath me, as it all actually was, because it was all over the floor. But then the alarm bells became even stronger, and it was basically like, look, mate, this is your only chance, otherwise you're filling these leathers. So I squatted down with these one-piece leathers tucked into the back of my knees as tightly as possible, so that I didn't shit in the neck of my own leathers. Squat down I did, no bog roll or anything, and a mess came out and added to the considerable mess that was there already. Do you know what? From nowhere came about 1,000 flies.
I thought you meant a coach load of people.
It was not a good moment. But yeah, and then it was... basically, once I got redressed, I squelched my way back to the bike and then just sat in shit until the day ended and just had to do a fairly comprehensive cleanup of the nether regions.
I hate to say this, but I've been there. I on my world trip, I was working my way down through Indonesia, and I got what they think was dengue fever. And I remember I had the shits. I was vomiting. I felt terrible. And I remember I sort of locked myself away for about 3 days, could not move. I found a hotel on booking.com, beautiful place, but it was like, fuck it, it's the closest place. I just go in here. So I stayed there for like 3 days, to the point where I was like, I have to leave now, because I had a ferry booked to like island hop my way down to West Timor, and I had to get to this ferry. So it's like, I'm just going to have to get on the bike and go. So I got on the bike.
Were you in no condition to travel, really?
No, none. Like, okay. Felt terrible. Death.
Was your ride going to be punctuated by unsavoury incidents?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm in leathers, and I'm riding the GSX-R 1000 in like 110% humidity, 40 odd degree heat. Indonesia is just really, there's load of pollution everywhere. So it's like, it's just fumes in a lot of the places. So I was feeling terrible anyway. And I'm riding along, and I suddenly thought, I'm going to be sick. So I managed to stop the bike, and was trying to get my lid off, threw up. But as I threw up in my helmet, and it literally went in my lid, I did the other one, didn't I? So it's literally, I had the home run in my leathers in this incredibly hot, humid environment. I'm just like, I had no choice. I had no choice. I dumped my lid in a river, put my lid back on, and then I sat in my own mess for the rest of the day till I got to like a place that night. And I literally got in the shower in my leathers, just stood there. It's like, traveling's awesome.
Can you put a big turd icon in the corner with some sort of warning under it?
It's going to have to be on the thumbnail, isn't it?
Messi.
Messi.
I've got not the Argentinian football player either. I'm trying to think if I've had any other.
I thought you were doing a play on Nessie.
No, Messi, the footballer, not Nessie.
Okay. Don't like football. Wrong game.
He's the Marquez of football. Go on.
Can I ask? Carly is saying, is that the bathrobe incident? Is there another story here? Oh, that is the bathrobe incident.
The bathrobe incident is the kitchen. The fish slice, the cornflake packet, the chod of shite, the bathrobe is all one story. Yeah. I mean, as I say, I hope that came across okay, because I'm sort of bored with it now, because I've told it too often. It's lost its impetus.
But if people go to the 44 Teeth Tenere KTM vid, right, I'll put a link for that as well.
Hear me telling that story slightly better, I think.
Right.
Listen, you know what the irony is? There'll be another incident of that sort happening in my nether regions very soon, I'm sure.
Life. I have some form of undiagnosed IBS. I've been tested for it all, and I come back as not having it, but I plainly do have some form of IBS. Everyone that knows me, everyone that's ever toured anywhere with me knows when the alarm bells go and I need to go, I need to go. You know what I mean? It's like there's...
The trouble with bikes, of course, is you can't always find a place, can you?
No.
Here's a story. Here's a story. One of the reasons I perhaps didn't go for an earlier evacuation when I was on my CX500 in Spain, I just had this phobia about bearing my arse to the wilds of the countryside.
Yeah.
Right,
you'll take a toilet any day of the week, won't you?
Yeah, well, I just couldn't bring myself. Kitchen floor, no bother. But out in the wilds, no, I couldn't do it. And I thought off-roading, it's a necessary thing. You know, you eat, you're in the middle of nowhere, you need a shite, bosh, do the deed. Not me. I'd rather bake it. I've been sat on my seat, letting the whole weight of my body push the shite back up the tube, and that's not good for you, is it? You know. Anyway, I met this guy. He's ex-forces, and I was telling him this story. He said, "What?" He said, "Look, follow this tip. You get one of the other problems with having a shit out in the middle of nowhere is squatting. It's not that comfortable, is it? And unless you find very secure footing, soon after you've delivered, you're remated, aren't you? And it's all over your arse again. There's a chance of you falling on your own. All I'm saying is, you don't have that lovely ball to support you. and gather your offerings, do you?
But then you look at like Southeast Asian people, Indian people, and amazing, can't they?
Yeah, but I wasn't brought up there, so I didn't know.
Yeah. So we can't do that.
I wasn't well. I'm sure. Well, listen, hear me out. I get this top tip from this he's a former Marine, and he says, no, you get a strap and you put it round either a tree or your bike, and you grab hold of the strap and you squat and just hold on to it. And you know what? In Scotland, I had my first wild shite, and I was looking at my phone while I did it. I had as much time as I fancied, in as much comfort as I wanted.
We have toilets in Scotland. Bowls. We have them. We have toilets in Scotland.
Yeah, but no, we were wild camping.
All right, okay.
I'll tell you a funny extension to that wild camping story. We camped next to a loch. Anyway,
a loch. A loch's when you put a key in, or your canal boat goes through.
I'd say that, but I haven't got a spittoon handy.
You've not had your cup of tea either.
I haven't. I'm doing well here.
26 hours in, you've not had a cup of tea.
Hear me out. Anyhow, so erect me tent. I'm the world's worst camper. I'm fucking rubbish at setting tents. So it takes me 45 minutes on a good day. And just to give further evidence of how shit I am at camping, I once went without any tent pegs. Pegs. Was it pegs? Poles. It was poles. I didn't take the poles. I couldn't support the tent. So I had to get a mate to park his bike a necessary width away from mine and just hang my tent between the two bloody bikes. Worked out perfectly well. But yeah, the other time is when I erect the tent near this loch. Will that do?
It's fine. Yeah. 6 out of 10 for effort.
Anyway, I'm with a couple of good mates, and we have something to eat, a few beers, a bit of a smoke, just have a good time. And one of the blokes, says, your fucking tent's a bit close to the water, isn't it? It's a tidal loch. And I didn't know.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I'll send you a picture of me staring at the edge of the water, trying to decide if the tide is going to come in any further than it has done or whether it's already reached its limit. But I decided that waking up at 3 a.m. with a lot of water on the ankles, so I had to up sticks literally and move it. But yeah, I'm often the butt of many a joke when I go camping.
Well, there has to be one, and it's very good, kind of you to volunteer to be that one. Who's Bertie Simmons?
Well, Bertie Simmons is a great guy. Mind you, I've got to be very complimentary to him currently for good reason. I'm a bit late, and he will fall off his chair when I describe it as a bit late, handing in my RG500 feature. Bertie Simmons is someone I've worked with for many years, both alongside or very close to. He was at MCN when I first met him.
Right.
He's done a lot. One of the funniest men. You really should try and get him on here.
All right, I will.
I think he's wasted. I think he should be a radio presenter. Just the sharpness and quality of his humour is unlike any other. Really good.
Well,
I mean, we go to this.
Sorry, go on. Apologies.
We go to this thing occasionally, about maybe 4 times a year. 1 second, the security is at the door. Gabs, okay. I'm getting the hurry up to go back to my own home.
Right.
What do we do? What do
we have? We've done all the questions. There's literally a couple of comments by Bertie Simmons, and then there's Instagram. So I can get you back on for another one if you want.
Yeah. Well, okay. But just let's close on Bertie. One of my most favourite people, like light of the party. Very funny guy, wasted in the job he's doing. Really does have more to offer than the considerable amount that he already does. One of my most favourite people.
You might not say that when you hear this. He's a grass. He's now saying, meeting the swingers, ask him about meeting the swingers on the Eurostar and ask him about being pegged by a 90-year-old. Speechless. 90-year-old, yeah.
I don't remember that last one. Yeah, I can't tell. Too many other people are implicated in the first story.
The Eurostar.
So I don't want to do that. Again, I'll tell you. Do you know what? This is when you either regret having taken beer or not having taken beer. But either way, because I'm sober, I'm going to have to look at the.
No worries.
I think the consequences of that would be. Let's just say I met that an amazing experience. I met.
He's going to tell us now, isn't he?
I'm not. I can't. I met some people on a Eurostar train. Can't even speak now. That changed the way that I think about things. I'll leave it at that. They gave me a new experience.
Right, Mossy, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. We're going to have to get you back on again, which I look forward to. I think we've done everything but Instagram now, so there's still some Instagram questions, and I'm sure we'll get some more next time you come on. Thank you very much for coming on.
How many Instagram questions are there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I think.
Okay, all right. I was going to have attempt at answering them if there was about 3 or 4. That we'd dilute the possible quality of my answers by doing that. So let's not rush it. Let's do as we should do certain things. Take our time and do a full and proper job.
I look forward to it. Mate, is there any, the floor's yours. You want to plug anything? You want to give any shout outs?
I would like to say, do you know what? I'd like to give Kai's Heated Clothing a massive mention because they are really helping me get through this winter.
Good.
We're in the most comfortable, civilized fashion. You know, this is my 48th winter. I've always done them, never had a breather. I was a bit late to one of the winters because I was recovering from my TT crash, but I still got back to it. This is easily the most comfortable. I cannot recommend that stuff highly enough. It's just a life changer. Look, everybody who looks after me, Nevis Marketing, guys at Tranam, Chris Lippett, he's been very, very decent to me of late. I've got some rocker stuff for him, which is quality. But yeah, look, you know, I've got tons of people to thank. You know, people who give me work, people who bloody give me bikes. You know, Motorcom, Nevis Marketing, Tranam. You know, Ian Baker at Honda.
Nice fella.
You know, Luke Plummer and James Sharp at Suzuki, at Motorcom. Loads of people look after me to a level I do not deserve. So thanks to you all. Everybody who plays a part in my work as a bike journal, I'd like to express get a bit serious, you know, some gratitude to, because they make things run even more smoothly.
Well, from a personal point of view, Mossy, thank you again, mate, for coming on. And don't ever change. It's an absolute pleasure to chat to you. And I look forward to the next one, whether it's on here or in person, whatever we do.
Good stuff. All right, awesome. Bruce, all the best. Good night to you. What time is it? Is it 11:30?
It is 11:30, just coming up to 11:30. Oh, this is like a fleeting chat over the fence.
A quickie one, this one, isn't it? I'm now going to get on my V-Strom 800 DE and ride off home into the sunset. Now, I think the sun may have set quite some time ago.
Maybe just. Well, take it easy on your way home. Yeah. Folks, thank you very much for all your questions. Much appreciated. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. But get on out there whenever you can. Most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha! Dude, mega. Right.